Incredible industry powerhouses, and you're going to recognize them, so I'll let Tamron introduce them. That's my girl!
I have to just soak all of this in. My goodness, I have goosebumps just being here. It is such a blessing. The turbulence on the plane is now forgotten. Oh my God, this is such, let me tell you, what we are about to experience is, to me, one of the most amazing and special things about being a Black woman. That we can send out the call, y'all, let's get together. And you come on the Mother's Day weekend. With your friends, with each other, and it is this panel is, I feel, representative of the entire festival. Because I just read a quote somewhere. Someone said, you know, I love that my child knows that I am resilient, but I also want them to know that I'm happy, and that I have joy, and that I have friends, and that I am loved, and that I gave love. And so much of what Mary has put together of this festival is about that. It's recognizing our power, the power to also be vulnerable, because there is power in crying.
That's right.
And there is power in getting up and starting over and lifting up. Somebody said the other day to me, how do you define power? And I said, it's when the door is open, you kick it open, but you hold it open for other people.
Yes.
Other women, other Black women. Because it is no fun being the first. It is fun when you see many. And many of you are here today because Mary J. Blige said, I'm going to break the door open for this festival. She told me backstage since 1991 this has been brewing in her heart. When I was 10. But here we are. Her dream that started in the 90s, and we're all here in 2022 together, the manifestation of Black female power. So this panel we have today, they are honest, they are raw, they are real, they are you, they are me. We are in this together. So let me introduce who we have. They need no introduction, but they gave me the card to do it. Joining us, the one and only, the incomparable wonder of the world, that is the name, Mary J. And many, many, many others, the one and only queen of makeup and beauty, Super Sis! Our next panelist I know and love. She's a force of nature. Nothing can stop her. She prayed for us before we came out. I was like, I never have to go to church again. Because Tasha Smith walks an anointed walk, and she is with us now. Tasha Smith! Yes!
I just saw her, man.
And last but not least, she is the soundtrack to our hearts and keeps it real. And it's just an angel. Her name is appropriate because she is the angel, Angie Martinez. Yes, I feel like I just announced an NBA All-Star lineup because this is an All-Star lineup. Thank you. That's perfect. The last lyric of the song. I feel good, I feel good, I feel amazing.
It's such a good
feel.
song.
How you feel, Mary?
I feel good.
The
I
queen!
feel great, man. I feel amazing. Man, I feel amazing.
You were crying back. I'm gonna just tell the truth.
Can't do nothing in
I'll tell everything. Don't commit a crime with me, I'm gonna tell. Mary, you were crying backstage, and you're about to cry now. What are you feeling? Why are you crying? Tell on me, Sarah.
She's being real talk show host. I'm trying to get you to
I got the leg crossed, I'm official. You were crying backstage. You turned, actually Tasha was there. She turned her back, and you were grounding yourself. What was going through your mind and body? What's going through it now?
The same thing that was going through my mind back then. I was telling Tamron, it just feels so good to have had these friends that I've had. You know, Simone I. Smith sitting in the audience, Tasha, Angie, Nikki Savvy, Misa, who's out here somewhere. Just my friendship circle is real. And I don't play games when it comes to my space and my energy, and these guys love me. They love me for real. They hard on me. They give me tough love. They're my shrinks, my therapists, my friends when I need some wine and some Nova.
All right.
And they're here to support me, and they really have my best interests at heart, and they have my back, and it just overwhelmed me backstage to have people that love you for real, because in this industry, I love y'all too. And just all the real genuine love and the outpouring of love from all these women for so many years. It's just I'm overwhelmed with gratitude and humility, because in an industry like this, it just seems like there's no one that's really real. But when you find people that are really real and love you and support you, you have to invest in that, and we invest in each other.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm so full, because I love them so deep in my heart. And the ladies, I love y'all so much. The ones that love me and understand it, the journey, I love and respect you right back. And Tamron, that's why I was back there about to start crying. I didn't cry though.
She cried. She starts a festival. This is big. Tasha said people start festivals, they're small. Of course, you start a festival, and look at everybody turning out.
Yeah, wow. Never envisioned this. I was just singing for my life, stomping around, doing the real love dance, mad, depressed, whatever you want to call it, but never even envisioned me being this, this person that I am, and having all the growth and progress that I've made. And I just never knew I would be this person in 1991. So, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly that. And we're here now in Super. When I say strength of a woman, what comes to mind for you?
I think what comes to mind to me is when you go through so much, but you're still able to keep it all together. Like if you're going through a heartbreak, or you're going through problems with your kids, being bad in school, or you're going through business problems, but you're still able to go out and have a smile and just keep everything together, knowing you have problems at home, or you have problems with business, any problems you have, and people think that you will shut down from it, or you'll break down, but you still keep it all together. You don't go crying and blaming everything on somebody else. You're able to find your wrongs, and you're able to correct them.
When did you first know you were strong?
Girl. I knew I was strong when I went through a lot of stuff at home, but nobody knew, right? I knew I was strong when I used to cry inside, but nobody knew I just cried, or nobody knew what I was going through in my relationship, what I was going through with my health, until I was able to be open about it. And especially when I got sick and I was still able to smile. I still got videos of me smiling in the hospital, all type of stuff on me. I was still making people, laugh, and I thought that's when I knew I was strong. I know I was going through something, but I knew it wouldn't last long.
It wouldn't last long. Tasha, so much of this festival, Mary has been so intentional in focusing on mental health, spiritual health, and that's who you are to me. Every time you see Tasha, there is a big smile. When you root for other women, you want us to win together. And how do you and how have you navigated the space of self-care and recognizing that we should be applauded for our strength, but we also have to embrace, as Super said, the tears, as Mary said, the difficult days, and having friends with us that support us. How do you navigate that?
Well, one, I do lean on the Lord, and that is something that out at all. And just listening to Mary, it makes me think about how God's grace is sufficient for us, and in our weakness is his strength perfected in us.
Amen.
And also, like, when we think about the grace of God, right? We have to receive grace, right? We got to receive grace, but we also have to give grace.
Yes, that part.
Okay? And not only that, but there's a scripture that talks about how you can't judge a thing before it's time. And a lot of times, y'all, we're going to go through things as women, as people. But for me, I'm always looking to see where God's grace is in the situation. Even though we might make mistakes, we might feel like we're failing, we may feel like we're incapable of overcoming. I mean, I've been through hell. When I think about this whole Roe v. I'm sorry. I have to mention this because I'm a woman and I've shared my story with Mary several times, but as a young girl, I've had abortions. I've had several abortions, and the only place I was able to go was Planned Parenthood to be able to get it. And I say that because there was a time I had so much shame on me because of the choices I made as a young girl. But thank God, even as an adult, but thank God for the women in my life that they don't see the shame, they see the grace, they see God's blessing, God's glory on me, the purpose of God for my life, you know, and to always remind me of that. That's what this friendship is for me. Me not looking at my mistakes constantly, but looking at the glory of God in my life and what my purpose is, and the fact that that's the strength of a woman, knowing you can lean on the Lord, okay, and you can trust God, and you can keep moving and overcome everything. Now I'm going to stop because I can keep going. But the strength of a woman to me is knowing when to call your sisters and know when to call on the Lord. And I love you. I better shut up because we only got 30 minutes. Thank you for coming. We're going to go now.
Well, now I'm crying. I'm not crying, you are. So Tasha, now that you got us in our feeling.
Is there a follow-up?
Angie, I am moderating. You wait here. Let me get myself together. These mean eyelashes falling off, Tasha. Listen, that is God. And so it is so easy, Tasha, for us to feel alone and isolated, especially as Black women. You sometimes feel like you're in a silo and that nobody understands and that you're alone. And the world can make us feel alone, or that our pain is not valid. You know, and you talked about the oncoming legislation that we know, but there's also the maternal health of Black women. We're dying in disproportionate numbers. You know, Black women are going into doctor's offices and doctors aren't believing us and leaving us undiagnosed with lupus and other ailments, and it goes on and on and on. When we're in an event like this, what do you hope the impact for us to be heard? Because they know we set the standard, but we are not heard and still the least protected. But your strength is immeasurable. Where did you find it? I know it's faith, I know it's friends, but I know the dark days have been dark.
Sis, it was the dark days, and I'm not gonna lie. Like,
Yes.
the dark days, the high school dropout at 14, stripping, bartending, on drugs, you know, the dark days, annulments, horrible marriages, fucked up niggas. The dark days. The dark days. I can cuss and preach, okay? I mean,
When you look back,
the dark days, okay?
I told you it was gonna be real and raw. I warned you, they have snacks in the back, children. Okay, so but when we say the dark days, for people who don't understand, because everything has a reason to cease, we know all of that. But when you have the dark days, you don't know it's going to get better.
No, you don't.
When you look back at them, How did you persevere?
By my sisters.
Yeah.
By literally, like if I didn't have my sisters to talk to vent to be vulnerable in front of, like you were talking about strength and vulnerability, because a lot of times we think that we have to put on that persona, that mask, right? And everybody can't handle my vulnerability. Like, because they so used to me being strong. Everybody can't handle Mary's vulnerability because they so used to her being strong. The same with Angie. But if we have that safe group of women that we can be vulnerable in front of, and we can take that mask off, and y'all ain't got to get shaky because I ain't that strong today.
But guess what? Let's check this out. Vulnerability is our strength.
Yes, it is.
We are women. I mean, you know, we don't have to be crying everywhere all the time, but it's okay to say, I don't feel like being strong today. I don't feel like being the smartest one. I don't know that answer to that question. I don't, you know, I feel like being a sucker for a man, or whatever your case is. Sometimes you just don't want to get out yet, and that's just your trial. Your trial is with that, but your strength is your vulnerability.
You told me in the pandemic, I said, Mary, what did you do? She said, I got in my backyard, I had sun goddess, I listened to my jazz, and I just was in a space of being, because you travel all the time. You're always on the road. You've never been that still in years.
Nope, and I loved it. I loved drinking wine every single day. In my backyard, in and out of my pool, by myself. Nicole cooking on the grill, I'm eating good, we jumping in, like, I was in heaven during that quarantine, you know? I mean, I was by myself a lot because I couldn't see my mom and all that stuff like that, my sisters, but I was just happy to be still, and I like being still. That's the part of our strength too, just being still and just waiting. We don't always have to know the answer, we don't always have to jump out the window, just chill. It will fall. Let me tell you something, when you are not desperate and unsure and scared, everything will fall to your feet and kiss the ring. I promise you. I promise you.
That's the truth.
And that's what I'm doing now. I'm just
like,
chilling.
Mary, you keep this hectic schedule. You're always on the go. It's TV, it's radio, it's red carpet. It's just a lot that comes with having. You've been doing this a long time in every version of it. When you look at a conference like this, what gives you joy to know that we can be in a space like this and be real?
Oh, that's many answers to that question. First of all, I'm desperately trying to not cry today. So I beg you to not make me cry. Because I'm not like you. You can turn around and pull it together. Once I go, I'm going. It's like backed up stuff coming out. I don't know. But I'm so emotional about it. I'm so happy for my friend. This has been years in the making. This is the first year, and it will grow. But even this is years in the making, and sweat and tears, and we are so proud of you. Not just me, I'm sure this whole room is so proud of you. So,
Y'all gonna make me
but to answer your question about that, I said this to my sister before. I was like, I'm tired of running around so ragged. She was like, did you used to like it? I was like, I didn't used to like it, but I didn't think anything was wrong with it. My life was like moving, shaking, We all were doing that. Now I really appreciate a little downtime. I've learned to do that. It's the evolution of, I guess, where you are in your life, and we're always evolving. And maybe for somebody else who's on the hustle, it's okay to live that. But pay attention to your body, pay attention to your spirit. My spirit right now is like, I need a little break.
Yeah.
So I work hard. I do work hard. I'm always on the run. But I am intentional about paying attention to myself.
How do you do that?
You have to just get quiet sometimes.
Yeah.
And you have to, there's always going to be noise around you. Whatever you do for a living, whatever your family situation is, there's always TV, Instagram. There's like always outside noise circling. And it's really important whether you do it through prayer, meditation, sitting in a chair, just turning your phone off. You need moments where you can pay attention to what you need, because it can pass you. And if you keep doing that to your body and your spirit, you will be depleted. So I'm very careful about making sure I am not depleted.
Not depleted?
Yeah.
You know how to say no? Because I know we talked about this, Mary, as well.
Yes.
Learning to say no to people and learning to say, I can't do that. that's one of the hardest lessons, especially as women, to learn. When did you learn the power of
I
no?
love it.
I love it too.
It took me many years, and I just say yes to everything, but not everything is for me, and that's okay. Just because it's a great opportunity or it's great for somebody else, that might not be for me. So again, listening to what works for me and knowing that this is not what I need, and knowing when you need rest, and say no if it doesn't serve you.
Best advice you received on this part of your journey, meaning not in your 20s, even though you're still 20,
Yeah,
but you know,
no,
at
I'm not.
this age, what do you think is the mantra or advice you live by now?
That's a great question. There's so many good things out there. It's really just about time and being aware. You know, I had some loss in my life the past couple of years, and I've been really blessed. I've lost friends, I've lost people I knew from the neighborhood, people got murdered, but my immediate circle, my grandparents, my family, my immediate circle, I have most of my life, up until a few years ago. So when that shifts, and I'm sure everybody in the room can relate to that, you are reminded, this is a temporary situation we have here. You know, this is not forever. We're not gonna be here forever. Our time is important and precious. So I try to be mindful of that every single day.
Mindfulness of time.
Of time, like, is this worth my time? Is this worth my energy? Does this make me happy? Because I don't know how much time I have left. So I think I try to live by that I don't know who gave it to me. The world gave it to me. God gave it to me, that advice, but I wake up with that every day.
Tasha, how do you look at time now? I mean, you know, obviously we're with the greatest female musician, period, of our time. Man, female, anyway. And can you just pause about that Super Bowl? Jeez. I got goosebumps just reliving it in my mind.
Listen, that was, like Tasha was saying, the glory of God.
Oh my God.
That was a moment that I just was a body, and I allowed myself to be used in front of the whole world. So when I passed out because of the hell we all been through just in the last, with the COVID and the quarantine and everybody's dying.
So that was real when
and
you
just
collapsed
as
that,
the people,
you just
know,
let it go.
It's just that yell and that boom. Like that, I think everybody feels like that sometimes, like and you just want to pass out. So that's how I felt. I'm sorry, I don't know how big, but that's how I felt. I was just being used, and I was having fun. So that's what that was about.
Listen, when you collapsed, I said, did she have that? I know you have your dance in the. I was like, that was a let it go.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you've been to a concert, you see me pass out, and they're like, get up, Mary. And I'll be laying there, and I'll be tired anyway. I was like, I'm tired anyway.
That one felt different. I've seen a million concerts. I was like, my girl was like, I did it. I came. I'm gone. It felt out of body watching it. It was great. So I was talking about, you know, being aware of time and being aware of your contribution to others at this point. For you, Tasha, you are always so mindful, like everybody else, you're busy. But one of the things that I've always been so struck about your life is how you do not sugarcoat your life. You don't. In a way, I don't know. I know very few people like that, where you say it, you mean it, you speak it. What do you get in return when you're that open?
It's so interesting, and I was thinking about this when you were asking her some questions about like the advice that we've gotten, and a lot of people probably would not know how insecure I was, like deeply insecure. Like a lot of times, like in this business and in the space that I would move in, people would be like, oh, she's so loud, she's so, you know, and people would like have this somewhat of a negative like feeling about how loud I was or how big I was or, you know, things like that.
Were you aware of this, or is this how you felt?
Yeah, people would say it to me. But they would make those comments and they think, you're so loud. But for me, it sounded like they were saying it was a negative thing, right? And I remember my mother had sent me this picture of me and my twin, and we were about 4 years old, right? My twin was very quiet and introverted, and then I had my hands on my hips like that. And my mom was like, you were always like that. Like, this is really who you are, right? And when I like started directing, I would go in the rooms of all these white people scared to be loud. I'd be like, ooh, I should probably, it's white folk in here. I should probably like calm down a little bit and not be so black and not be so loud, right? And then I said, but you know what? That's who I am. Like, that's part of my creativity. That's part of the essence of who I am. And I gotta be me because that's how God works through me. That's how I'm able to do what I do. Could you imagine if I got up here and I was a quiet motherfucker? Could y'all imagine if I was like that? Could you imagine if I called Mary, hey sis! I mean, could you imagine if I said, how you doing? I mean, that's not me. So I am in my greatness being my authentic self. God created us to be who we are. Be you. Be black. Be loud. Be proud. Be beautiful. Be all that you are. Because that's where your superpower lies. Yes. And guess what? When I go on the set as an actress, as a director, as a friend, they know I didn't enter the room. Be you, lady.
I mean, this is so true because Tasha is exactly, I don't care, we're at an airport, anywhere you see her, she's like, hey girl! Hey! Where you going? What flight? Tasha, I love that because...
Wait. Tasha, come in. Well, can I speak on my friend? Tasha will come in quiet to your video set or whatever, or your movie set, and I'm not gonna get in the way. And the next thing you know, bitch, you better get up there. You better stop frowning. You fucking hear what I'm saying? Taking over the whole shit. I said she's here, but she comes in like, I'm gonna stay out of the way, but she can't stay out of the way. You know what I'm talking about too. I was like, okay.
Because it's liberating. I mean, we're laughing, but we're celebrating all of y'all's authenticity because it's hard. Real love is hard to keep it real because people want us to conform. The things they love about you, they then hate about you. And we see it in every front. And Super, you really exploded onto the scene. I mean, what, 3 times now, Oprah's favorite things list. I mean, you went from this life of trying to create to suddenly being on the national, international stage for what you do. Were you prepared for the power?
I wouldn't say I was prepared, but I would say that everything that came to me, I was able to handle it because I'm used to it. I was always used to being popular, so when I got really far, I was happy about it. I was happy about it because I would love the attention when people actually listening to me being super relatable, like me going through what I'm going through, like the co-parenting, my health, like everything I had going on with me. I wasn't afraid to share that with people.
Why did you want to share it?
Because I wanted people to know, bitch, I'm just like you. Like I wanted you to know that whatever you going through, I went through it too. If you went through a heartbreak, I went through it too. A nigga used you, a nigga used me too. Like I wanted people to understand that we are superhuman. Like we are just like you. It's just that you probably know more about us and you probably went through it too, but you don't want to say it. But
when you heard back from when you started sharing your story, well before, as I said, people started to appreciate your gift and your talent and beauty. When you started sharing your story and others started to say, I'm going through the same thing or I experienced the same thing, how did that feel?
It made me not feel sad about what I was going through. Even though I know women go through the thing I go through, but I love that they would share it with me. I love that it was open with me. People used to DM me secretly all the time, telling me, oh girl, I went through that too. And I would kind of tell them how I dealt with it or how I deal with it at the moment. Even with business, I'm okay with sharing how I became a millionaire. I'm able to sharing like what I went through in real life and where I came from. I'm the same person, but I just have more money now, you know. And I wanted people to understand that it's okay to be who you really are, just because you're going through whatever you're going through. I went through a lot on social media. I was embarrassed. I went through a health scare. I went through so much and everybody seen it. And I was okay with that. I was okay with it, but I also showed that even though you humiliated, you could still become a whole different person from that. You could grow from that, and people need to know that it's fun.
You've done a lot in the space of entrepreneurship for young and whatever age Black business women, because we are the least likely to get loans and backing. Banks are not opening the doors to support our small businesses, and even after the pandemic, we know that Black female-run businesses were hit harder than anyone, and they say some of our businesses may never come back, or it may take until, I believe the last estimate was like 2030 for some of our Black female-run businesses to survive. Part of the strength of the woman that you are is the entrepreneur story and sharing that.
I feel like when it comes to women, especially men are kind of intimidated by us because, you know, women are the new real niggas. You know, we are the new head of the household. Like, even though, and the thing is, I feel like women could be in the streets and like we could be like that boss woman, and we could be this multi-millionaire, we could be this like the strong woman, but we gotta go inside and be small to our men, you know? And like they want us to be like, we don't mind them being the head of the household, but you want me to change who I am when I come home so you won't be intimidated by me. And I feel like a lot of women went through that. And I feel like quarantine was good for us because we really found out who was really proud of us and who wasn't. And we really found like secret things in our partners. I mean, a lot of people broke up because of the quarantine. When you around a nigga all day, like you really see their true intentions, and like it gave you that peace, it gave you that sanity, because people that was working all the time and they was running all the time, going out of town all the time, they had the time to sit down. If you noticed on social media, many more people started going live, they started marketing their brand more. A lot of people became entrepreneurs during the quarantine. And that was great because we had the time to do that. I'm always who I am. I don't care who I'm with. Like, you have to understand, I'm a very strong-minded person. I'm very strong-headed, and that should be okay with my man, you know. And people have to understand that.
Sure. I just wanted to say, so today I was getting my makeup done at the hotel, and the makeup girl is from New Orleans. You say New Orleans or New Orleans?
Yes, New Orleans,
right? Yeah. So I was telling her that you were going to be here on the panel, and she said, as a young, aspiring makeup artist, that she met you somewhere. She was a fan, followed you, and that not only did you encourage her, but you were telling her about what products to put out first, what outlets to reach out to, some of the pitfalls. Like, you really broke down the business to her in a way that she had never experienced. And I think that is a testament to who you are, because sharing information also is really important, especially when some of these doors are so hard to open.
You don't have, you have the gift, you have the product, but then the other tools to sustain the business are things that you've learned and shared.
I share it all the time. I'm on live telling what you should do, what you shouldn't do, how you should market it, how you should start it. I don't mind sharing, like when I collapsed. I don't mind sharing when I started, I was cheap. I don't mind sharing any of that. I feel like if you have the blueprint, you should be able to share it. If you don't share it, then how can you be about women empowerment if you don't want to share what you learned, you know? So I don't mind sharing that.
That's a word right there. Before we wrap up, Mary, picking up on what Super said, sharing and having the power to share. 1991, as I said, you thought about this. Here we are now. What do you hope the global impact of this is? Because now things aren't just kept in a room. Everybody's tweets, what you share will go all over the world. And Black women all over the world will look at this room and say, I wish I was there. What do you hope the impact of this festival is?
Exactly what you just said. Women from all walks of life look at this program and say, I wish I was there, or come to this event and come back, because like Angie said, and she said, this whole Strength of a Woman festival is about sharing information, getting different perspectives on things, and learning different things from different people. And it's a learning experience. This festival, just like all these like the Essence Festival had all these summits and all this. Everything is about learning, and I think the most powerful thing is all these women being here, and that's the strength of a woman. Seeing other women being empowered. First strong woman I ever seen was my mother. Second one was my grandmother. So that's the strength of a woman to me. Women strengthening each other by example. So we all lead by example. Yeah. So if I see my mom come through something, or my sister come through something, or my friends come through something, I want to know how to do that. And that's what this whole event is about. Us learning how to grow and uplift each other and teach each one teach one.
Each one teach one. Before I wrap up, the last thing. Good morning, gorgeous.
okay, y'all gonna really make me cry. Okay. So I was, like Tasha was saying, fucked up niggas, bad marriage, horrible marriage. And I was going through hell, and nothing could ever please this person, no matter how much I worked out, no matter how good my sex was, no matter if it was good, I don't even know to him, but nothing could ever please this person. And so I started like just trying to figure out how I can please myself and forget this person and him not being satisfied. So I started watching, I've always watched T.D. Jakes and Joel Osteen, and one day I was watching T.D. Jakes, and he said in his sermon, he said, what you say about you is more important and effective than anything that anyone else can say about you. And when I heard that, like a bell went off, and in my prayer time, I began in the morning to say, good morning, gorgeous, good morning, even though I didn't feel beautiful, I didn't feel gorgeous, I didn't feel none of that shit. I just had to say something powerful to myself that I didn't even believe to make it manifest, make something manifest, make me believe something on my face or my body was attractive because this person wasn't happy. So now I realized that, I realized that it was not about him making me feel good about myself. I had to figure out how to do that on my own. And now I can see some shit. I'm like, oh shoot, I'm pretty beautiful, I didn't even know. So I had to do that for myself, and it was hard because nobody knows how to walk in self-love when you don't know how to do it. But when you learn, when you go through so much hell and people hate you more than you hate you, you don't want to end up dead. So you got to figure out a way. So when you hate yourself, everything, the universe, nothing in this world, different dimensions, nothing can respect it or respect you. So I had to learn how to love myself and respect myself, and now the universe, the world is just opening up everywhere. I'm like, ooh. So that's because I learned how to love myself. And so I learned how to love myself, like Tasha said, in a very dark place where I was dependent on someone to make me feel great. But I had to, when T.D. Jakes said, nah, what you say about you is way more effective than what anybody can say about you. And when I tell you, it's your word, we have the power. It's your words that work. And so that's where Good Morning Gorgeous came from. And I chose the morning because in the morning no one feels gorgeous or pretty. Right. When you go to that bathroom, you make that first, whatever you're gonna do. And you see yourself after a hangover or something like that, and you got makeup and stuff, or you got struggle braids from your wigs or whatever, and you look in the mirror and you're like, good morning, gorgeous, I love you, I need you, you all I got, and that's where the song came from.
On that note, good afternoon, gorgeous.